welcome back to the next segment of the Asatru Edda. Asger Skag here, and today we're reading chapter 5, which is simply titled Odin. So, in this chapter, we are going to get to know the Allfather very, very well, to include the numerous names he claims as aliases during his adventures. Bur, son of Buri, took as his wife the woman called Bestla. She was the daughter of Emir, sister of Mimir, and with Bur she had 3 sons. One was called Odin, another Vili-Lodir, and a third Ve-Honir. It is our belief that this Odin and his brothers are the rulers of heaven and earth. Lodir became the ward of the sky and protector of time. Honir became an administrator of sacrifices. The first Gothai, whose name, Ve, designates a sacred enclosure. As such, he would become the one who is able to choose the lot wood. Honir is called Odin's table companion, or comrade, or confidant, and in Skjota As, and Langeforter, and Arkonongr. Both of these brothers became the progenitors and Njalar of the Vanir. Lodir was thought to be proud and bold, Honir gentle and kind. Odin is the highest and oldest of the Godin. He rules in all matters, and although the other Godar are powerful, all serve him as children do their father. We know that Odin is his name, and this is what we call the one whom we know to be the greatest and most renowned. He lives through all ages and governs all things in his realm. He decides all matters, great or small. He and his brothers made heaven, earth, and the skies, and everything in them. Most important, they created man, and Odin gave him a living spirit called Und. This will never die, even if the body rots, or dusts, or burns to ashes. At this time, the oldest Godar lived peacefully and happily in the evergreen realms of Jormungand with Mimir, the Norner, and other members of the noble Jotun race of Emir's arms. Odin knew that he had many great deeds to perform for the worlds, yet he was still young and inexperienced, and knew that he did not have the power to do what he needed to be done. One drink from Mimmisbrunner could help him, but Mimir, the well's deep-minded guardian, refused him the drink before he would prove himself worthy through self-sacrifice. Then Odin gave himself as the sacrifice for his life task, which he describes in his own words. I know that I hung on the wind-tossed tree 9 nights, wounded by my spar, given to Odin, myself given to myself, on that tree of which no one knows from what root it springs. No one gave me bread, nor a horn of drink. I peered down, I took up the runar, wailing I learned them, then fell down thence. I obtained 9 Fimbuljóðar from Bolthorn Emir's, Bestla's father, celebrated son Mimir, and I got a drink of the precious mead drawn from Orthorir. Then I began to quicken and to become wise and to grow and to prosper. Each word I sought resulted in a new word. Each deed I sought resulted in a new deed. You will find Runar and explained characters, very powerful characters, very potent characters, which Fimbulthulur Mimir drew, and the oldest powers made, and Odin wristed. By Odin for the Aesir, by Danebroker for the Allfather, and by Dvalin Sindri for the Dverger, as Vinir Mimir rested Runar for the Jotunar, some I wristed myself. Do you know how to wrist them? Do you know how to interpret them? Do you know how to draw them? Do you know how to prove them? Do you know how to pray? Do you know how to blot? Do you know how to slaughter? Do you know how to consume? It is better to not pray than offer too much. It is better to not send than sacrifice too much. So Thunder Odin wristed before the origin of man. This he proclaimed after he came home. I know those songs which kings' wives do not know, nor sons of men. The first is called Hjop, for it will help you against strives and cares. For the second I know what the sons of men require, who will live as healers. For the third I know if I had a great need to restrain my foes, I deaden the weapon's edge, neither my adversaries, nor arms nor wiles harm at all. For the fourth I know if men place bonds on my limbs, I sing so that I can walk. Fetters spring from my feet and chains from my hands. For the fifth I know, if I see a shot from a hostile hand, a shaft flying amid the host, it cannot fly so swift that I cannot stop it, if only I get sight of it. For the sixth I know, if one wounds me with a green tree's root, also if a man declares hatred to me, harm shall consume them sooner than me. For the seventh I know, if I see a lofty house blaze over those inside, it shall not burn so furiously that I cannot save it. That song I can sing. For the eighth I know, what to all is useful to learn. Use where hatred grows among the sons of men, I can soon set it right. For the ninth, I know if I stand in need to save my ship in the water, I can calm the winds on the waves and lull the sea. For the tenth, I know if I see Tundrithur doing mischief in the air, I can work so that they will forsake those own forms and their own minds. For the 11th, I know if I am to lead those in battle whom I have long held in friendship, then I sing under their shields, and with success they go safely to the fight, safely from the fight, safely on every side they go. For the 12th, I know if I see a hanged man's corpse in a tree, then I can so wrist and draw in Runar, so the man shall walk and talk with me. For the 13th I know, if I sprinkle water on a young man, he shall not fall. Those he comes into battle, that man shall not sink before swords. For the 14th I know, if I have to name the Godin, Aesir and Alfar, in the society of men, I know them all well. Few can do this unskilled. For the 15th I know what the Dverger Thjorn Threthrir sing before Dellinger's door. Powerful to the Aesir, victory to the Alfar, and wisdom to Hratatir Odin. For the 16th I know if I wish to For the 16th I know if I wish to possess a modest maiden's favor and affection, I change the heart of the white-armed damsel, and wholly turn her mind. For the 17th I know that that young maiden will reluctantly avoid me. For the 18th I know that which I never teach to maid or wife of man. All is better what only one knows. This is the song's closing, save her alone who clasps me in her arms. Odin is the cleverest of all, and from him all others learn their arts and accomplishments. And he knew them first, and knew many more than other people. It was for the drink he received from Ymir's well that he gained such wisdom. But now, to tell why he is held in such high respect, we must mention the various causes that contribute to it. While sitting among his friends, his countenance is so beautiful and dignified that the spirits of all are exhilarated by it. But in war, he appears dreadful to his foes. This comes from his being able to change his skin and form in any way he likes. He can be recognized by the fact that no dog, however fierce, will attack him. Another cause is that he converses so cleverly and smoothly that all who hear believe him. He speaks everything in verse, such as that composed, which we call the skaldskapur. He and the Godin are called lodasmithar, for from them that art of song came into the northern lands. He is called Allfather in our language, but he has many other names which he once spoke of. I am called Grímr. I am called Gangretti. Herjan, Hraumberry, Þykr, Thridi, Thundurifing, and Urer, Helbrindi, and Har. Sadar, and Svipal, and Sangatal, Hirter, Hrinikar, Billiger, Baliger, Borvecker, Fjolnir, Gotor, and Grimnir, Glapsvider, and Folsvider, Siedhotor, Siedskelger, Sigfodor, Nikuther, Allfather, Valfather, Altrither, Farmather. I have never been called by one name since I come among men. I am called Greener, and Geroders, and Gulker, and Alsmunders, and Kjarlar, when I drew Kjarki van Hofdi. Throw at the thing Vidar in battles, Oski and Ami, Jafar and Beef Lidu, Gonleader and Harbarder with the Godin. Svidur and Svidrither, Svidur and Svithrir. I was called at Sok Mimir's suitors and beguiled that ancient Jotun. At the time when I became the slayer of Mjod Vitner Fjodar's son. I am now called Odin. I was called Eager before that Thrunder, Volker, and Skillfinger, Vafuther, Hropter, with the Godin, Vidar, and Jorfer, Ofni, and Svafnir, all which I believe to be names of me alone. Odin's other names: Arnhofti, Aldagater, Asgarter, Odun, Bruni, Dres Vapor, Dorunthur, Eluther, Farmagund, Fenger, Fimbultir, Forni, Frafrither, Geguther, Ginlother, Gastumblindi, Geraldnir, Ginar, Gizurg, Gizur, Gondol, Hrarandi, Lefrer, Lefother, Hrami, Hrani, Hrafmoder, Jorfoder, Jornir, Jormanner, Lodanger, Hrafnaguth, Njoter, Orger, Sithgrani, Sigthur, Sigthir, Sfigthir, Svithuther, Sfjolnir, Tvegi, Thrigi, Thrasar, Thropter, Thruner, Valthognir, Valtir, Veratir, Vithrir, Volsi, Runger, As, Blindi, Hanaktir, Sigtir, Galtir, Hangaguz, Hangi, Haptagus, Hergater, Herjafather, Hertir, Mimsvinir, Havi, Hapsonir, Vithrimnir, Inibrater, Hjorvather, Karl, Sigurhofunder, Sigrun, Sigturgir, Vegtamir, Rognir, Valgotur, Svithar, Gonrother, Igrunger, Dunir, Radgrani, Sigmudur, and Ralda. Those are all of the names that Odin goes by. Continuing on, Odin is a majestic figure. His forehead is high, his eyebrows strongly drawn, his facial features noble, and his gaze thoughtful and brooding. Driven by his thirst for knowledge, he sank one of his own eyes into Mimmisbrunner, and thus he is one-eyed. He appears with this handicap to human beings when he wants them to know who he is, usually wearing a wide-brimmed hat and wrapped in a loose blue cloak. In his own hall, however, among the Godin and Einahar, he seems handsome and without defect, and although heavily in thought, he seems so gentle that all look gladly into his awe-inspiring face. His beard extends down over his chest. Often he travels so far from Asgardr that he passes many seasons on his journeys. His two brothers, Honir and Lodir, govern the realm when he is absent. Odin can make his enemies in battle blind, or deaf, or terror-struck, and their weapons so blunt that they can cut no more than a willow wand. On the other hand, his warriors rush forward without armor as mad dogs or wolves, biting their shields, and are as strong as bears or wild bulls, and kill people at a blow. But neither fire nor iron hurts them. They are called berserker. Odin can transform his shape. His body lies as if dead or asleep, but then he will be in the shape of a fish, or a serpent, or bird, or beast, and be off in the twinkling of distant lands upon his own and other people's business. This practice is called skiptalitam or utiseta. With words alone, through the power of Mimir's runar, he can quench fire, still the ocean in tempest, and turn the wind to any quarter he desires. Sometimes he even calls the dead out of the earth, or sets himself beside the burial mounds, whence he is called the Ghost Sovereign and Lord of the Mounds. Odin knows finally where all missing cattle are concealed under the earth, and he understands the songs by which the earth, the hills, the stones, the mounds are open to him. And he binds those who dwell in them by the power of his word, and goes in and takes what he pleases. His enemies dread him, his friends put their trust in him and rely on his power and on himself. As he gives the food of his table to his two wolves, Geri and Freki, he nods to himself that he needs nothing to eat. For him, wine is both drink and food. The wolves have the runar wristed on their claws. Two ravens sit on his shoulders, to whom he taught the speech of man, and they tell all the news they see and hear into his ears. Their names are Hugin and Munin. Hugin and Munin. At sunrise, he sends them off to fly throughout the worlds, and they return at the evening meal. Thus, he gathers knowledge about the many things that are happening, and so people call him Hrafnagrund. As Hugin and Mugen fly each day over Jormungand, he fears that Hugin may not return, yet he is more afraid for Munin. Odin has the gift of prophecy, as does his wife. And though this learning, he knows what he had to do through the ages for the benefit of the worlds. Odin has the gift of prophecy, as does his wife, and through his learning, he knew what he had to do through the ages for the benefit of the worlds. In all such things, he is preeminently wise. He taught all of his arts in runar and songs, which are called Galdar, and therefore the Godin are called Galdrasmither. Odin consecrates oaths, pray to Allfather Odin for his favor on a journey. He gives the grants of gold to his followers. He gave the Hermododr a helm and coat of mail, and Sigmundur received a sword from him. He gives victory to his sons, but riches to some, eloquence to the great, and wisdom to others, fair winds to the sailors, songcraft to the Skaldin, and he gives valor to many a warrior. And that is chapter 5, where we have learned the many, many, many names that Odin has gone by through all of his travels. If you've made it all the way to the end, I thank you very much for listening in. This was a bit of a rough chapter to read just because of all of these older names. Stumbled quite a bit, but I'll tell you, I gave it my absolute best. So I would appreciate that thumbs up, and make sure that you subscribe so you can get all of our new content. So until the next segment, have a great day.